Kim. How are you?
I'm well. How are you today?
I'm good. What do we want to hash out today?
I don't know. What should we hash out today?
Well, recently I had a relative that came in from out of state, and he was really interested in selling his property and said, he made a comment. He said, "Look, properties are moving so darn fast.
Mm,
There's no inventory whatsoever. Why should I use a realtor? Why do I need a realtor to help list my property? What do you think of that one?"
I mean, he's kind of right in some ways, you know. I mean, he can put the property up. There's plenty of people looking to buy. That's probably going to go quickly, but I guess my concern for him would be how is he going to handle all of that? You know, there's a lot of different ins and outs that go along with this. So I think recently, you had an open house, right? I think there were probably upwards of close to 100 people
Right.
that came through. So how is a homeowner going to manage that on their own? What type of system?
So that's a great point. And with that being said, out of those 100 people, and 100 people, it was probably 40 groups, only two of those were unrepresented. So that means that he's still going to have to pay that 2.5 to 3% to the buyer's agent. His argument would be, okay, if I've got a good buyer's agent, won't they handle the whole transaction?
They sure will for their buyer.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a really good point though. So within this, you're going through a transaction that how much do you know the ins and outs of? You know, there's contracts that there's a lot of legalese in there. You know, are these people familiar with it? What about addendums that come with that? I feel like there's a lot of areas where a seasoned professional could really kind of get over per se on someone trying to sell the house on their own. I think that ultimately they'd be doing themselves a disservice.
So let me ask you this. In a person's lifetime, the average person, how many houses do they buy and sell probably?
I would think probably 1 to 2.
Okay. So in that 1 to 2, there are probably a lot of margin for error there. Right. And I think that, I actually love being on the buy side of a for sale by owner, because I know for a fact that I am going to negotiate for my client and do extremely well for them.
That's right. So ultimately, it's probably going to cost that seller more than if he just would have hired a seasoned professional to really help them through the process.
Yeah, it may. And going back to the numbers, it's that 2.5%, 3% on the buy side. If you did one of those MLS like flat fees, it's in the range of 400 to 700. You're going to
Right.
pay for professional photography. Don't just go out there and do it with your iPhone, although the iPhone
Right.
works pretty good. And do aerial work, floor plans, and where that big question mark that you keep gravitating towards is your ability as a seasoned pro to look out for the best interest of your client and make sure that you tip the scales in their favor. And I know that's what you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what? And there's even more to this, though. And you kind of touched on this earlier. When there's so many people coming through and looking at your home, how do you know if they're qualified or not? What if they don't have an agent? Like, what if they're looky-loos? What if you have valuables in your home? Who's really helping throughout that process? Who are these people, and how have you qualified that they're actually a buyer?
Come on, Kim, you've got, let's say 100 people coming through your house and you get all these offers. How do you know which loan is the right one for your house?
What a great, great point, Tim. There's so many different caveats that go with different loan types. If you're not aware of that, you may not choose the best option. It may cost you in the end game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you do the math, you probably should utilize a seasoned professional. And when I mean seasoned professional, I don't mean to offend anybody here. A lot of people have their real estate licenses. Um, you know, I've worked with people in the past who say, "Tim, I'd love to utilize you, but my brother, he got a real estate license recently." And those usually don't go that well because a newer agent has to fail forward, so to speak, like we all have, and make those mistakes. Unfortunately, in this business, when you get into it, usually the first people you're representing are those people you love and trust.
Closest to you, right?
Right.
And yeah, that's very true. You would hope to do the best service by them. But unfortunately, you fell forward.
Yeah. So I think I advised him. I actually came, said, look, this is what you do. This is how you would do it. But the more I think about this, it's like it gets, just make sure you have somebody in your corner, or align yourself with a good attorney, ask a lot of questions. I don't know. It's a tough one, but I appreciate your time.
I appreciate yours. Thanks, Tim.
Nice, Ken.